Okay. What's up, my man? Enzo, welcome to Artist Talks.
All right, thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is a very chill um, series of conversations.
I can smoke and drink here, right? No, it's not like PG.
Exactly,
Okay, it's
exactly.
not supposed
That's
to
so.
be like I can
I
curse as
want
well,
everyone
right?
to know that you can come and have a drink and we can have a beautiful conversation.
Okay.
Um,
Because I didn't
yeah.
want to like go off camera going.
No, what are you talking about? No. Yeah. And so tell us a little bit about, okay, tell us a little bit about you. I want people to get to know you like loosely without masks.
So basically, I was well, as you, I was born and raised in Venezuela. I'm half Italian. I studied in the Netherlands for almost 3 years. I'm a political science major at this point.
Question
Not
mark.
really graduated, but I'm working on it. It's a
Okay.
long, complicated story. We'll get to it, I'm sure.
Okay.
Uh, and yeah, I'm here for the ride. I also like to write and creative stuff in general, so that's
Yeah.
also good.
I think you're getting us off on the good feet because I want to demystify a little bit creativity. That's
Yeah,
partially why I want to talk to people who it doesn't matter like what major, whatever career path, whatever choice they made in their life. It's just we're all creative beings, right?
yeah.
So my question would be, why? Why do we come?
Why
Why
do
are we
we
creative
think?
beings? Like I'm always so curious that no matter who you run into the street, right? We all have some kind of creative expression.
So the thing is, it's complicated. There's a lot of philosophy behind that, and I actually love that question because it's there's no right answer, which is good, which is part of being creative, right? That's the beauty of it.
Mm-hmm.
uh you could go scientific and say, we strive as a being to like be better and create a new thing and advance, but there's so much more than science can explain when it comes to like the creative
Mm-hmm.
process and even philosophy in itself, that it's so hard to pinpoint it. But I do feel it's this whole thing of we all like to be different in a sense. Like, there's the whole cliche thing of society and the corners, etc. We all know that spiel. But there's always like this creative little thing that we either repress or hide, right? Or outright just show it to the world, that we as individuals have, that make
Mm-hmm.
us individual. It is a very renaissance way of thinking about it. But I feel like it's very true. Like they hit the like nail on the head with the whole idea of, the being and the self, and that's what makes us creative, because we strive to be different, we strive to
So,
have our own little thing, and some people just show it, some people don't even like to admit it's there.
uh-huh. And yeah, because I want to get to that. So you're saying in a few words too that being in and of itself is creative.
I do agree, yeah. Like, of course, some more than others, that's normal.
Yeah, and so can we? My, I wonder why do you think every time people go about and ask, "Oh, are you someone who's creative?" and they go, like, why do we instantly jump to like art and movie making or like storytelling? Like, why do we think those are the only creative mediums?
Yeah, because it's the simple way, right? It's the mediums that rely the most on creativity. It's the things
What
that
about
rely the
math? What
most.
about like philosophy? What about
Yes, I
gaming?
I agree. In general, uh when it comes to this creative spectrum, you could even be creative building or woodworking
Anything.
or whatever, anything, right? Because
Talking, like the words you choose.
exactly, as long as you're doing something a little bit different or doing something like within your own right, it has a touch of creativity to it.
Mm.
It's just there's more creative. intensive professions or just more creative intensive expressions than others, in the sense that like when
Yeah.
you go to film or you go to art or you
But
go
yeah,
to etc., it's all about that finding something new. While when it comes to building, it's or something more like mechanics or etc., it's not that much about finding something new but about doing what works. But sometimes, and a lot of times, when you do that something new, you stand out,
but
right? But
here's the
those
thing though.
people aren't labeled creatives, and that sucks.
Right, because but that's interesting because I don't necessarily agree with the idea that creating something new means that you're creative. Uh, I because doing something that works can be creative because how you make it work, how you, for example, make this. I don't know. You're making breakfast and you don't have a spoon to like cook your onion, so you use a straw. I don't know. You find
Or
something.
whatever. Yeah,
You make
exactly.
something work. That is creative. You're problem solving. You know.
Yes, yes. But the thing is, it depends on how you see the word, in a sense. Because
Mm.
like when you go to the core meaning of the word, like the core etymology of the word, creative is just creating something. Like if I build a
Mm-hmm.
house and I follow manuals, I'm creating a house.
Uh huh.
Now, the whole emphasis we as a society have on creative is doing something new, right? Because even in your whole like, we're cooking the eggs, right? And I don't have the spoon, so I use the straw. That's something new,
Right.
right? That's
I
the
see.
idea we have of creative and what's been attributed to the word as a whole.
Okay, so then something new is something new.
It can be minuscule, but it's still
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
creativity.
Is something new doing something that hasn't been done before? I know that sounded like self-evident, but like,
No, no, not necessarily. No, I get where you're going at.
yeah.
Yeah, because okay, maybe you're not the first person to use the straw to
Mm-hmm.
cook the eggs. And that doesn't mean it's not creative, right? As long as you haven't like heard of it before, in a sense.
Yeah, yeah, but
This is
that's
a
what I'm
little
saying.
bit of
Like,
a
I feel
slippery
like,
slope though, but as long as you haven't heard of it before, in a sense, and you're doing it, that means you have a certain level of adaptability and a certain level of creativity that could be attributed to you, definitely.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Right, because at the end of the day, it's all about adaptability for us. That's what makes us us humans, in general.
Okay, because that's also an interesting topic of conversation. Of
The
uh,
idea of adaptability is insane. Yeah.
yeah. But I had a wait. I forgot to tell you.
All right.
Could you record your audio on your computer?
How can I do that?
Let me pause it.
Mira, aquí está mi.
So we were talking about adaptation, but also about what I kind of want to linger a little more. What does it mean to do something new? Because that opens up a gap of what is originality. What do you think?
Yeah, it opens up a lot of speculation, in a sense, and more so today than ever. Because the thing is, we're always looking for the new thing, right? It's always been a search for what's new when you're an artist, wherever, like
Mm.
whatever field you're on. You're always looking for, whether it's music, you're looking for a new sound, whether it's art in general, like painting,
Yeah.
it's a new style, it's a new use of colors for expression, or even just of the same techniques. It's the same when it comes to writing as well. It's always a search for the new, but the new tends to, like, for example, I don't know how to say it, like in even in fashion in itself, like we tend not to notice the small details that change,
Mm-hmm.
even though we're at a point in which those small details count so much.
Mm.
And it's all about the expert eye, and there's so much speculation around the expert eye, right?
Okay.
It's weird because even when it comes to like thing in a general sense. When it comes to like the expert eye or the expert like tongue for like alcohol or food or etc., it's always like, I don't see the difference, so I don't believe it. And then there's some people who don't see the difference but still trust that expert. So it's such a
But
such a
it says
muddy
something.
field.
It is. But I do feel like it says something about everyone. So like you can write the same stories, right? You can talk about. You can do the same styles of painting, but each individual, just the way they were configured and the way they were bred into this world, is going to have that new sort of given thing about it that the expert eye is going to catch up on, and people who don't catch up on it
Might.
don't catch might not, but it doesn't matter at the end, because at the end of the day it's an aggregated like thing that has been materialized into the world, like an
Yeah, I
idea,
I agree.
an object, a painting, or an equation, like something, or an interpretation, an expression. So like even the people who are in their houses, right, or in the streets, who live in the streets, who maybe people who don't think they're creative, and people, just the mere fact, because I'm bringing it back to what we were saying at the beginning, just the mere fact that they're here, they're already expressing something, and
And
that's
they're already
something.
living something new.
Yeah, and that's
Every life is
something,
individual. Yeah, I agree.
that something is doing some, like it's affecting other people around it. Like, dude, I mean, like I know numerous examples of. I'll give you an example. Like, you see a homeless guy holding a sign. I mean, he did that sign. He used his creativity to have a sign that said, "I need food," whatever, whatever. But then that little sign, a producer on his car saw it, and then that inspired another idea that it's communicated into a movie, and then it's like every little thing. It's like part of like all this domino effect things.
I mean, yeah, you're talking about the whole concept of like the domino effect. Or well, domino effect is I believe it's the wrong term, but it'll suffice.
Yeah.
Because I can't think of
Who
it
cares?
right
Whatever,
now.
bro.
Yeah, who
who,
cares?
who gives a fuck?
Uh the thing is, how do I say this? Like, okay, I'm a firm believer in like the big impact, right? Because you're talking about what came up to like what
Mm,
led the director to make that movie.
mm,
I'm selfish in that aspect of like I believe the credit goes to the director for being able to see that sign and turn it into a movie. That's how I just like put it close up there. Now, the idea of you saying that, like, for example, the case of like there's this one homeless guy. I believe it's here in Miami. I don't know exactly where. He started painting with whatever he could find. He started begging and bought cheap art supplies and
mm,
started painting. And he gave like this basically this like influencer was like, oh my god, yeah, those are super pretty paintings, blah blah blah. This homeless guy who used to be homeless, of course, uh now has a huge like he has like a gap of his own. I can't recall his name, but I heard the story super recent, and it was thanks to like social media, which
mm.
is also a creative
Medium.
environment.
Yeah.
Super creative, the whole idea of social media.
Uh huh.
But that's an incredible story. Now, when it comes to the idea of everybody, like the whole idea of something new, it's a little bit complicated because what might be new to you, like for
Yeah.
example, maybe for that, for the we're going in this homeless person tangent, but okay, let's just work
Yeah.
with these stereotypes.
Right.
Maybe that I need food for I need money for food or I need food
Mhm.
sign might is completely new to this homeless person, right? Let's
Yeah.
just say he has never seen another homeless person before. He just came up with that sign.
Mhm.
That's new to him. But is it new to society as a whole? That's where the focus on creativity stands on, I
That's
believe.
interesting. Yeah, because new is almost become breaking expectations. So when I break your expectation of what pattern has been formed before, then I'm doing something new. Like if all of a sudden I empiezo a hablar español en una conversación que en inglés, you're like, whoa, wait, why he just started speaking
Exactly. That
Spanish? I
broke my
hasn't been.
pattern.
You broke the expectation I had about just now, and then they go, oh my god, that's new, that's creative, that hasn't been done before. But then here's the tricky part, and this is segueing into the next point that I wanted to talk about, is that can get very egoic. It can get very self-centered, very self-indulgent if taken too seriously, or if taken too, because I mean, it's just how we express it. And like we've made, like as a society, we've made idols of people who have done this, broken these patterns. Like you see, like for example, movie stars on the screen, right? And when you see a celebrity on the street, you get so thrilled and excited to see, like your brain goes, oh my god, I know that person from that TV show and I'm seeing them, but they're just a human. Like,
Yeah, it's a
what's going
person.
on?
It's a
Like,
person, 100%.
but you can make yourself believe he's a god or she's a god, whoever,
Yeah, he, she. I agree. I agree. And the thing is, and why a lot of people eventually end up disappointed when meeting their idols is, I believe, one or two things. It's either one, the whole I'm a god or they're a god thing got into their head so much
Right.
that they believe it,
Mm-hmm.
or two, they're just they block that out completely, which is absolutely admirable and very rare. But because they block that out completely, people often get disappointed when they go like, yeah,
Well,
I
because
just
then you
want to
create
have a
a
couple of beers and be a person.
well, because you create a standard of perfection for yourself. Then, as a like a mirroring effect, right? You see, oh my God, this actor has always done this very right, so I need to be like this actor, and I need to be like this person. And whenever you find yourself failing to be another person, because you at the end of the day won't be that other person, then you feel disappointed. You feel that lack of self love. But now let me ask you then. How can we construct that self love?
Oh, that's a tough question, because I've dealt with that. I'm still in a sense dealing with that. I was well, you might not know, or I might have discussed it with you
No, maybe
before,
not.
but I've
I'm curious.
been I used to be, gladly I got through it, but I was depressed for like a while.
Mm.
Because of a lot of circumstances in my life, a lot of tough situations, a lot of terrible people surrounding me at the time. I was just
Mm.
in the sink, right? I thought I
Yeah.
was useless. Now I've gotten to pick myself up.
Mm-hmm.
Therapy, etc., is just,
Mm-hmm.
anybody going through this who might be listening to this,
Yeah.
recommend it 100%, please.
Yeah.
Therapy whenever you're feeling a little bit off.
Yeah.
Therapy, please.
And then to yes, there's like a
Shout out
stereotype,
to psychologists as well.
psychologist and therapist, but also
Yeah.
like I feel like in Latin American cultures, it's like a no. I don't want to change the topic, but men don't go into mental health because they
Yeah.
think it's
No,
unnecessary.
and even in our society, it's like sometimes people I know will drop shit like, well, older people I know will drop like bombs like, oh my god, no. In my time, there used to be no fucking depression.
Mm,
Like there used to
mm.
be. You just
Oh,
weren't
there's
aware
always
of it,
been
right?
there. It's
Like
always been there. But I don't want to derail too much. I want to keep listening.
yeah, the whole thing of loving yourself is far complicated, because uh, I could verbatim give the advice my therapist gave me. Like I could straight up just be like, "Oh yeah, you go, you write good qualities of yourself in the mirror and you
Mm,
repeat them." And but it's different.
Mm-hmm.
from person to person, because as well, it's the individual. That's why psychologists and therapists are so special at what they do, because whatever, you can't just repeat what they've done.
Right.
Because it's individual, right? And in those sessions you learn to understand yourself and what's good about you.
What has
And
helped you understand yourself a little more? Because and I'm curious to listen through sort of the things that sent you through a sink, and then things that you saw along the way that helped you pick yourself back up. If you, yeah.
it's weird. No, 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 I can speak about it. I just have to like formulate it because I don't want to throw people under the bus. uh
Mm. Right, 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 right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But the thing about loving yourself specifically is always a complicated task. It's an individual task. It's something that you have to get help for. It's something that you have to somehow understand yourself and speak your truths to somebody, or even a wall. I don't know. It depends on the person, right? Like if you don't want to speak to a therapist, try to like speak your truth in general to like a mirror or something, and
Mm.
that way you'll kind of like start to understand it. I think I'm not qualified, but as for my path, I've seen a lot. Well, during the protests in Venezuela 2014, before I left, I was very much involved. I just hid with a mask and never got caught. Well, close one time, but that's an interesting story.
Okay.
uh my father was in jail during those protests because he refused to shoot citizens, and seeing him in jail, and after like the tortures, the one time a week I got to see him, was also very scarring. But that wasn't even the peak of my depression. The peak of my depression came afterwards. During university, when I was in the Netherlands, I assisted basically one of the top universities in the world, or it was at its time. Right now, yeah, they're going through issues. Let's just leave it at that.
Wow.
I don't
Okay.
want to point fingers.
Okay. Okay.
But at the time, I was surrounded by people who were so much smarter than me, right? Like
Right.
I was used to in my high school, the small fish in the pond.
Mm-hmm.
And while that was going on, of course, I took that as I gotta be better, and I tried, and I was for a bit. But then again, the problems back home started like spurring up. My father got another capture order. He hid. I only heard from him like once a week through
Mm.
burner phones. So I essentially picked up every single scam call
Damn
that
it.
was ever made to my phone for at
Holy
least like
mother.
6 months. That was, yeah, that was insane. And it was shitty because, whenever you get a scam call, you pick it up, you get more. And every time I saw a random number calling me, I got my
Mhm.
hopes up. Uh,
That's really hard. That's really hard.
uh, as well as that, I was gladly, I was surrounded by good people, like good people I had met there. But the school was tough. Dealing with that was tough. And my way to deal with that was working harder. I was like, if I work hard, I won't feel it. And that
Mm.
was true. But then I started neglecting
Yeah.
my relationship at the time. And that relationship, God bless, it's over, ended up being super toxic.
Mm-hmm.
Because the fight or flight of that person, like the response of that person, was just bring me down.
Yeah.
And I started believing them because
Was
i
like
was I was frail.
cyclical. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, I was frail. I was like, oh yeah, I am a piece of shit. Like I
Holy shit.
suck.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm out here and I'm not doing anything with my life other than studying and doing things for the university. Oh my god, I'm such a shit person.
Mm-hmm.
And it stuck for so long. Like
Yeah.
it stuck for so long that the saying of like make it fake it till you make it.
Uh huh.
That saying is very true, but it goes both ways.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah, so if you start believing that you're shit, even though you're not, then you will become shit. And I
Mm,
did. I did. I hit rock bottom before essentially hearing that my dad had fled the country and running back. I dropped school. I didn't give a shit about anything anymore other than seeing my parents and being like, okay, I'm in a safe space now. Like I'm gonna start over. And that's where I've been at for like the past 5 years, I think.
hmm.
It's a slow process.
Yeah. It's a daily process too.
It is. But after a while, it just starts being natural. It
Yes.
it really, really, really
Yes.
starts being natural.
Yes.
And the thing is, I got myself help,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because my parents didn't believe at all in like therapy or depression. And essentially I was like, well, you might not believe in it, but I need it. So
Yeah.
deal with it. So let's
Mm-hmm.
get me. And my mom was incredible with that.
Supportive.
She like investigated here in
Mm.
Miami, like what the best therapy, like therapists
Yeah.
were around, like
Yes.
affordable, etc. Just and I got help. And I got
Dude,
help.
and there's
And
absolutely no shame in that. I don't
I
know
I
where
nobody should be ashamed of that
it's been.
at all.
It's been constructed this like whole stereotype of like, oh, if you have a therapist, you are going through some bad shit. No, you're not.
No,
It
but you know what? I'm glad that that's an old people stereotype.
Yes. Uh-huh.
It's an old person stereotype.
Yes.
It's like a boomer stereotype to put
Yes.
it in internet jargon.
Yes. It is. It is. It
It's
is.
a stereotype that is so old right now because only old people go like, "Oh, you're weak if you go to therapy." No, dude,
Yep.
you're stronger after you get out of therapy. You're a better person. Like,
Yeah, and like talking about adapting and doing new things. I mean, as a society, like the younger generations as well, including them, us, we are evolving our consciousness more and more. It's beautiful to witness. It's very beautiful.
I honestly, okay, so if you ever meet me in person, and I'm gonna be real right now. Like, well, of course you've met me in person, but I'm talking to the hypothetical audience, right? Uh, uh, I won't toot a horn to the achievements of this, like, to these kinds of achievements. In a sense, like I'm proud of it. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely agree with them, but I don't think they should be thrown this many flowers because it's natural.
Mm,
I feel like evolving and advancing and learning these new things should be something that we see as natural. Like
right.
it's something we were meant to do,
Yeah,
right?
we
In a
shouldn't.
sense.
I don't think we should even punish it when we feel like we're not, like it shouldn't be a reward punish thing. It should be
No, not
just
at
a
all.
thing.
It should just go through. Like
Yes.
that's exactly why I don't like to that's exactly why I don't like to punish it either. I don't think there's any punishment in new things. But yeah, it's exactly as you say.
No, I understand. I think you pointed. Thank you for bringing this up because in talking like our whole conversation, I think you've hit on a very important creative medium that everyone is able and capable to work on a daily basis. And I
Themselves.
that's it. It's themselves.
Yeah.
The creative pursuit of yourself and your self-love and the daily creative work to better yourself day to day. That's something that everyone possesses and no one needs a teacher or instructor necessarily to know how to do it. You just need to. I mean, of course, yes,
Yeah,
it
yeah, you
helps.
do you do need
Therapy
some
helps.
guidance, right?
Yeah, books help. Oh, don't get me wrong. But what I mean is like it's not something that you need to like go outside and get, it's something that can start within now.
You can start with it at home, but going outside does help.
Please elaborate. Yes, yes, yes.
Because the thing is, you can always. I know a specific case of somebody. I'm not gonna allude to the case either.
Okay.
It's somebody who really loves themselves and really hates themselves at the same time, and I find that fascinating.
Uh-huh.
And what I say about it is, what I mean by this is essentially that person really, really, really enjoys spending time on their own, but at the same time hates the fact that they enjoy spending time with themselves.
So is that really self-love then?
It's weird. It's something that has baffled me for so many years. Cause like bringing this person out to like go to a party or something, like, oh, like,
Yeah.
hey, let's go out, relax, just have a good time,
Mm-hmm.
right? Let's go to a party. It doesn't matter. You can be with us,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just with your friends, etc. And they will do it eventually after you push them enough, but they hate the fact that they hate being pushed. Like they no, not push, but how do I say this? They hate the fact that they love being with themselves so much.
It's a balance. I don't think it's all
It
about the
is. It
balance,
is
you
a
know?
balance, but the thing is, so many things about yourself you learn going out. And this person actually
Going out, when you say go, can you clarify going out
going
for?
out in general. Like if it's just
Is it exiting your comfort zone in a way? What are you trying to say?
it, yes, of course. Well, it depends on the person because sometimes people who exit their comfort zone just end up hating it to bits. But in this specific case, this person exited their comfort zone and enjoyed it so much. But like after a month, they were like, yeah, no, I'm not going out for like a year.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm.
but exiting your comfort zone is always good. It depends on how far you go as well. Because there's something that my dad always used to tell me,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a difference between being afraid and being stupid.
Oh yeah.
And that's something that
Yeah.
that we tend to not understand too much in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because danger is real, but also, I don't. I see. I feel like fear can be self-created, but danger is real. You know what I mean?
Yes and no, because like the thing is, maybe your body, like for some people, like for example, let's say introverts.
Mm-hmm.
I used to date this girl who was an introvert. She was an absolute introvert.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality was she hated going out, and that fear of going out was, I from what I understood and from what I saw in her and from what she told me, was the fact that whenever she went out, she just had a bad time.
Mm-hmm.
So she was afraid of that as well, right? Because it's not necessarily danger. Like she
No,
knew she wasn't gonna die because she was gonna go out, but she knew she was gonna have a bad time. And that's fear.
that's fear. Yeah.
That's fear. That's fear that told her, that's fear
Yeah.
from her body that told her don't do that.
Yes.
You're
Yeah.
you're not gonna have a good time. And you remember me. And
Yada
when she
yada
went
yada.
out
Mm-hmm.
and she had a bad time, and I slowly understood that.
Yeah. And I mean, going back to what you were saying, faking it till you make it. I mean, you attract that chatter in your head so often.
It's not as clear and concise as the like law of attraction. Like there's some
Mm-hmm.
people who believe like, oh, if I wish this enough, I'm gonna make it. I don't believe in that.
Interesting. We could talk
But
about that. Yeah.
it is true that like if you believe yourself that you're something, you'll eventually become that or attempt to. Like your attitudes will change, your way of life will change. That doesn't necessarily mean that if I start believing like, oh my God, I'm gonna make $1 million, oh my God, I'm gonna make $1 million, oh, I want $1 million, I want $1 million. That doesn't mean you're gonna get it.
No, but that's well, that's a beautiful I think misunderstanding about it is that you feel like you're attracting this from when you attract this from greed from it's the places in your energy level. Oh, I believe in energy and everything, but I feel like it's it's where it's coming from. It's where this desire is coming. Because if you want to attract $1 million just so that you can sit on it and do nothing about it, then you're not gonna get it. And you're not, of course not. But like, let me put it this way: if you wholeheartedly believe in yourself and what you're doing, and day to day you're grateful for existing and knowing that you're going somewhere, and then finding your passions and then dreaming about what you want to do with your passions and how that fills you with this immense love, then like in that interplay of feeling and emotion and gratitude magnetically draws things to you, conversations, people.
Mm, yes and no. All right. Because like the thing is, it's hard because it's not a magnetic thing, right? It's those magnets that you're not putting magnets in yourself.
How
You're
not? How
searching
come?
for
I
those
mean,
things. You
they're
as a person
we're we're
start searching
we're.
for that.
Say that again.
Like you as a person, you
Yeah.
start searching for that. When you start believing that you're gonna achieve a goal or that you're
Uh huh.
gonna achieve a goal out of becoming a better person or out of
Mm-hmm.
being or achieving something because you're starting to be this way, then you obviously not necessarily attract. The thing is, attract is such a bad word to use for that, but you
Okay.
start searching for it. And when you start searching for it, you find things, right? And you start
Mm-hmm.
finding these conversations, you start finding yourself in these situations, but
Don't you
you're
think?
not attracting them, they're not coming to you. You're
Oh,
going out there and looking for them, whether
but
you believe it or not, but it's
absolutely, and I agree with that. The thing is, though, when you open that flow of, I mean, when you open that flow of connection, because now you can see it, because before you couldn't see it. You're finding. I mean, we're using. I think we're using the same different words for the same kind of thing.
yes,
If
but
you
that's
know what
that's
I'm.
where that's where my creative
Uh huh. Uh huh. Uh huh.
comes into play.
Yes, of
The
course.
whole thing of the law of attraction
Yeah, it's
is
been very stereotypical.
so shittily worded. Like it's
Okay.
just
Yeah.
crap. Like they wrote it so badly because there is a point there, of course, right? It's just it's not even shittily worded. It's just super attractive.
To the point where it can become cliche and
Not even
unappealing.
it. You know why it becomes cliche?
Mm-hmm.
Because this whole law of attraction, like things come to you,
Mm-hmm.
makes it seem like just by wishing these things, they will come to you.
That there's no effort involved.
Exactly. And that's bullshit.
Well, that's interesting because new studies that are because I mean what we're talking right now that's the stereotypical. I'm trying to sell you law of attraction, but new studies, and when we talk about the, for example, there's this doctor called Dr. Joe Dispenza who's a neuroscientist and it's really in depth with this changing yourself and the way you've been patterned to think. Um, he talks about a daily practice. And a lot of like spiritual teachers talk about an effort, second, moment to moment of
Exactly.
like detaching yourself from the self created suffering that you put yourself through, the egoic repetition of I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, getting yourself out of that circle into the I am capable, I can do this. And in that like workout of changing the way you think, then this synchronicities, this unexpected unknown things start to happen.
Okay. And
Or you
that's the
start to
thing.
find them, however you want to
That's
phrase it.
better wording. That's
Yeah.
what the asshole who wrote the law of attraction should have written. Like the thing is, the whole thing of the law of attraction, what pisses me off of
Mm-hmm.
essentially is the idea that there's so many people who
Mm-hmm.
don't want to like make an effort and just go like, oh no, but the law of attraction is very true. I read a book
dude.
and
And
it's
you're
true.
so right.
And
Yes.
and that's what pisses me off. That's why I don't believe it, because
And
it's not a law of
and that's the
attraction.
thing. And it's
It's
like,
a Yeah, it's what you're saying. It's changing. It's understanding this pattern. It's
yes.
believing in yourself, but it's
Yes.
not a law of attraction. It's not an attraction. You're not attracting shit. You're looking for it.
Interesting. Yes. I want to say that like like what you're saying, I think a lot of people think of it like that way. It's also um I talked to this in one of my conversations with Dima, of like how we see God, and how we the same like stereotypical expectations of a white bearded man, and how like so many people have an aversion to God and hearing the word God. That's sort of the same thing here with the law of attractions. Like people
But
immediately think,
I love the conversation of God and the way they look. It's interesting. It's
yes,
centuries old.
yes, and well, I want to hear you a little bit about that, so that we don't overextend our listeners too much.
Ah,
But I don't know what I was gonna conclude with when I was saying that. I was gonna say something and I forgot. I was just gonna say that they're just similar. How like cliche and stereotypical. I guess we've mystified law of attraction instead of demystifying. Or
yeah,
there's a little bit of both. I think it's what you really get yourself into and what you start to.
because it's interesting that you linked it to religion, because the law of attraction is a nice little sub-religion in a sense. It's
It could
something
be.
mystical.
It is. It is of
Something
the
mystical.
spiritual nature. But okay, so tell me, why we need spirituality. Spirituality, not religion. Spirituality.
You're asking the wrong person. Because I don't believe in spirituality whatsoever.
What do you believe in?
In that, in making yourself a better person by your own means without the need of something higher. Like
Mm-hmm.
for me, the highest thing you can achieve is like helping others, in a sense that you don't need a god to tell you to be a good person. Like, oh, you should follow these 3 easy steps and you'll
Of
be a
course, of
better
course.
person. Now, fuck that.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be a better person because you want to be a better person, and because you want to help others, and because that's inherent. Like, the thing is, when it comes to spirituality and religion and etc., history has ruined it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
No, of course, and we've heard in recent times also like all the horrible things that have come out from religious groups
no,
and.
but that's not even it. Because the thing about religion is that even if it does achieve to do something good, in the books of history and what history teaches you is that it's something used to make people calm, right? Because it's an easy tool for those that don't believe in being naturally good, or don't find themselves capable
Mm-hmm.
of being naturally good, to say, oh no, if not, uh Jesus will punish me, or Allah will punish me, or Hera or Zeus will punish me, and I'll end up in Hades.
Mm-hmm.
It's this whole thing of like,
Like a self motivation program.
no, it's a control of the masses.
Okay.
It's an easy
I
way
do
to.
I do sense some I mean, I'm not going against what you're saying. I do sense that there's
Oh, but do
some.
feel free to. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, of course. That there is something out of the natural order of, or like there's something in your voice that tells me there's something more than the physical. Let me put it.
Naturally,
Okay.
naturally, we just don't know what it is. Like, the thing is, we as humans are
Mm-hmm.
always gonna strive to know the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
It ties in so well with the whole concept of creativity,
Okay.
because this whole religion thing, in a nutshell, and this whole spirituality thing is a creative medium of saying what's new, but in our existence, right? Whenever we discover something new, because I do believe science is also a form of religion,
Uh huh. Okay.
and the whole and full like etymological way of the word of religion, what religion means, which is like essentially explaining what made us and where we come from. Science is a religion.
Okay.
And this whole idea of understanding something new is, or explaining why we're here, is looking for something new. It's our human
Seeking
way of saying
evolution. Mm-hmm.
there's something above that we still don't get,
Uh huh.
but we definitely have to take steps to get it. Like
Uh huh. And
that's
that's
what I
part of
believe.
what you believe. Uh huh. Of what?
I do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not gonna lie and say I don't believe there is a God. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what it is. I sure as hell know he's not here.
Okay. Yeah.
uh but I do know there's something else in science. You could call it the fourth, fifth, sixth dimension. In the Abrahamic religions, you can call it God or Allah. In
Yes. Yes.
the pagan, well, pagan is such a
I
big
get
word.
it. We get it. We get it. We get it.
Exactly.
Yes.
You could call it whatever you want to call it, but there is something above.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't believe it interferes with us. But I do believe it is there. It is something we haven't
Yes.
understood or
Okay. So tell
discovered.
me how it doesn't interfere with us then.
The thing is, I'm a very rebellious person in general. Like
Yeah, no,
I've
and
always,
and
yeah.
and I think we people listening this who have a rebel inside them. I mean, because it's interesting this concept of rebelling, because you're reacting to something instead of just being purely free, which I think you become a slave of of an idea instead of just creating something just
But
from.
that's something I've understood as well. This being purely free thing is like
Mhm.
the ultimate form of rebellion because you just don't care.
No, but that's not how I mean. That's not how I mean it. That's not how I mean it. I feel. I read this on a book. It's called Untamed. Glennon Doyle wrote it. She put it very nicely. It's not like favoring one or each shy or reacting to an idea, but like creating your own, redefining your own existence
I
from
agree.
scratch. It's like a peaceful inner.
Like looking into the inside. I agree with that.
Yeah, but it's not because when you say rebel, you are rebelling against something. Like it's in the nature of the word. Yes,
Not necessarily.
but I mean that's what the word means.
It is, but the thing is, even if you're not out there like I was in my teen years, throwing Molotovs or taking tear gas to the face, like if even if you're not out there doing that, the whole idea of being free and taking away from like what society expects you to be is a rebellion of its own, because you're going against the grain. You're rebelling to this whole idea of, oh, if you don't care, you're a bad person. Nah, who gives a shit? Right?
No, because well, I feel like rebelling, you're acting against something. Like you're acting in opposition. But I mean, as in like.
By finding yourself and caring
Mm.
about that self-worth, you are acting in opposition as to what you're expected to be.
Not necessarily, because you can also say that on the other side of society, you were expected to be this way, but you don't necessarily matter
What
anymore.
other side? In which society are you expected to not care?
No, because I see it like in my image in my head, like all these people thinking that you're expected to be a certain way, you are expected to act a certain way, be a certain way. but then maybe one of those people knows that they're. I mean, I feel like I'm tangling myself here with words and
No, it's fine.
definitions.
The thing
But
is,
what I'm
what
trying
I'm
to say is, call it whatever you want to call it. Rebellion, not rebellion. I don't see it as rebellion when you are in connection with who you are. Because for
it's
me,
not.
rebellion, it's like I'm actively telling you no, and
But
then
that's a
clashing.
misconception, but that's
Okay.
a deeper philosophical topic that we could go on for like 2 hours on. Uh Not necessarily. Rebellion can be peaceful, rebellion can be not protesting, rebellion can be just not going with the flow, but going with what your spirit tells you. Like,
But that's funny because then,
you
like,
don't have to fight anything to be rebellious. Like, you don't have to throw a Molotov to be rebellious.
no, okay,
You
okay.
don't have to stand and have a sign to be
Mhm.
rebellious. You don't have to overthrow a government to be rebellious. It's such a broad word, and I love that about broad words. I love the
Mm.
those types of words that
Yeah.
leave so much room. As a person who writes poetry,
Yeah.
those are the best words. Eh,
You write poetry?
yeah,
Would you like to read us some poetry towards the end? You have any of your works?
I should look for them. I have a little box in there of very drunk writings that
Yes,
are
please.
at top. But whenever you want me to read those, I'll read those. I
Yeah.
That's why I do consider myself a creative, and that's why I do understand the repressed self.
Okay.
Because
Can you
as much
elaborate
as
on that?
I
Hmm.
huh
Yeah. Please elaborate on that.
the thing is, I do feel like everybody has a creative in them, and they, as I said at the beginning of the the beginning of the podcast, it's either you express it and you're out there and you don't care if people see it, you repress it but you still do it, you repress it and you don't do it, or you do it but you hide it. It's one of the three. There's no other option. We all have some sort of creative thing we're either proud of, afraid, or hiding. I do believe that the creative in us is always there and it's always present, because our outlooks on life are very much individual.
Hmm.
So I found some
Hmm.
uh a little bit hidden. Didn't take that much time as it might seem. And they're all very fucking depressing.
Hey, but you let them out, and they were a
Pen to
face.
paper is the best medium to let them out, because
Say that again. The best what?
the best medium to let those things, like type of emotions out, or at least
Poetry.
for me, of course. Because like the thing is, you get to say them in the moment, you get to be sad about them, you get to release them, and then you get to put them out into the world if you're ready or if you don't want to.
Writing. That is.
Writing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like this
and
is
that's the thing. Even if you don't show it to anyone, it's out there. It's already been materialized. It's already expunged yourself.
exactly like if you could like see these are like pen writings. They're gonna take a little bit of a while to understand. No, I think this
Yeah.
is
Just read me too, or yeah, whatever
is
you.
a tidy handwriting, considering that I write very drunk. Yeah.
Please. Whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I take the Hemingway approach. Write drunk, revise sober.
Uh
It's
huh. Uh huh.
I say the Hemingway approach because it makes it easier to seem like a non-alcoholic type of approach.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
You know, he was successful. We all kind of sucked at it. Uh, so I'm just gonna read the first one, and it already starts very dramatic with "I'm sorry," and I'm sorry I'm in this room thinking about what could have been. And I'm sorry, sitting in this room, thinking what will be. And I'm sorry that today I'm not the person you wanted or ever will be. But I'm sorry you will never see. You will never see me supposed. Oh, no, no, no. You will never see me being who I was supposed to be. I'm sorry you didn't stick around longer. I'm sorry you will never be mine. But I'm sorry I will never be yours. So forget me, love me, hate me. But this, who I am, I'm sorry that you'll never be mine again. And I'm sorry I'll never be yours. This was Heartbreak Central. This was me being super depressed
Oh my god.
at the time.
Okay.
And if anything, the therapy sessions made me understand that she's the one who'll be sorry. Yeah. I've
Okay.
already apologized. Eh.
Okay. Please indulge me more. What one that you like in particular? I don't know.
No, I'm just going through the ones that I've found in general because they're hard to find. They're all scattered over my room, and looking for them is gonna take hours. But this one's a good one. This one's actually a quite reasoned one because I date my like poetry.
Okay.
Like drunk me knows that he has to look for the phone and put the little like date down, and
Okay. Okay.
it's an instinct at this point.
Okay.
Eh. This one's in Spanish though.
Oh, please, and for those listening, uh, the melody. We want to hear it in Spanish, and we'll understand it. Yeah, just so
Yes, no,
please.
and I'm sorry, but Spanish
Yeah.
poetry is so much better, and just the Spanish language is just
Okay. Okay.
superior.
I
Like,
see.
I believe it was Charles V
Okay.
that said he didn't even mention English in this whole saying, but he was like, "I speak Spanish to God, Italian to
Okay.
woman, French to man, and German to my horse."
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, because German is a language to give commands. French is
Oh
at the
my God.
time
I see.
was the language
Interesting.
of like international relations. So that's why I speak French to men. Italian has always and will always be the language of romance.
Okay.
And Spanish is the language you speak to God.
No, that's funny because I journal to God. That's sort of one of my practices, and I do it in Spanish when I get very intimate. That's so interesting that you said that.
Yeah, there's a lot of background to it, as in like colonialism and just a bunch of terrible things behind that sentence. But as a Spanish speaker, it's nice. You're like, yeah, my language is the one of God.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ignore the millions of people that died for that sentence.
Yeah. Okay, so please, come on.
Contigo quiero compartir mis mañanas entre sábanas y caricias, convertir lo cotidiano en increíble, hacer de tu sonrisa mi inspiración y que tus carcajadas sean mi ritmo, que no te conviertas en mi mundo, sino que mi mundo se convierta en ti.
Mm.
Contigo quiero compartir mis aventuras entre la cama y la sala, convertir la rutina en felicidad, hacer de tus ojos mis paisajes y que tus suspiros sean mis aviones que viajan cuando logre mirarte. Que al verlo visto a tu lado se torne nuevo. Contigo no quiero mucho, nada más que eso. I
We.
like that one a lot better.
I love that one. Love that one. I want to translate one part. I don't want to translate this because it's beautiful and it shouldn't be translated. But there's just one part where you said, um, my. This is loosely. It sounds more beautiful in Spanish, but my inhales are your airplanes. Wait. Can you say that again? Mis suspiros.
Hablar así bajito. Speak in a low voice.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
okay. That your whispers or your murmurs.
Your whispers. That's the word.
That your whispers become my planes or are become my planes. Oh, that's beautiful. I really love that. It's like
It's
a
a love
very
poem.
love
Yeah.
poem. Delicious.
Yeah. Thank you. See, I try to be a creative myself.
Yeah, man. We're all art. Remember, you said
We
it.
all are. We all are. We
Being
just
is
hide it.
creative.
We just hide it. We're just afraid. Uh, and we shun those that are brave enough to do it
Yes.
because we go like, "Oh, you're not good enough." Yeah, but they're better than you because they're at least putting it out. That's my point of view. That's why I don't critique artists.
Mm, that's a very humble way of staying.
I don't like to say an artist's work is shit because that's his
Yeah.
like that's his
And
thing,
it's
right?
okay, dude. It's okay to make shitty art. I don't know why it always has to be good.
Yeah,
Like
exactly. Yeah, you
that's
might not make $1 million, but you're out there. You're braver than me.
yeah,
Eh.
exactly, exactly. Um, well, thank you, my brother, for being here and doing this conversation
Thank you for having me.
and catching up. This one is a thick one for
It
sure.
is. It is. I pity you for the editing.
No, it's all good. I don't care about that. No, it's I know it's gonna give a lot of food for thought and food for the soul.
Hopefully.
Yes, and thank you. Is there anything else you would like to tell people that they're listening to us?
Check out this podcast. They'll have cooler how do you call this, guests than me, but that's why you should check it out. And
Oh,
all the
brother.
best to you, my guy. That's all that I
Oh,
can say. That's all that I can say.
okay.
It's all gonna go
Sure.
uphill from here. That's all I want to say. That's all I have to give right now. And if you want to give me money,
Yeah. Let me
I'll
see what
take
I
it.
got. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not
Thank you. That's
not
very
out here to plug myself. I'm out here out of love.
Thank you. Dude, thank you for bringing in your beautiful self. Thank you for your words. And that is it for this conversation. Thank you so much for sticking around. I hope you took something away with you, some food for thought, some questions. Let me know what you think. If you're interested, if you want to know more about certain topics, please feel free to DM me, email me, or if you have my number, just text me. And yeah, our next episode is going to be in Spanish. So I'm really excited for you to listen. And even if you don't speak the language, I think you can take something away by maybe hearing the melody of our conversation. All right. Take care.